Today I got a great beginner woodworking project for you, floating shelves. Man, these are so simple. Pocket hole construction, you actually don't even have to have pocket hole jig. You can just nail or brad nails these things together. This thing is super simple. Basically, you just make a box with an open end. You're gonna have a 2x4 on the wall. You're gonna screw into the studs or use some hollow wall anchors. And then this is gonna slip right into the back of that. And then you're gonna just attach it from the top into that 2x4. And this will hold pretty decent weight. I wouldn't like stand on it, but it's a great project for a beginner. If you want to add some shelving to your house, great way to do floating shelves. And let me show you how we're going to do it. You can paint these shelves, you can stain these shelves, you can leave them natural. You don't have to do anything to them. You can just put a clear coat on them. However you want to decorate them, they're your shelves. They're so easy to build. You can take a 2-foot piece of a 2x4 for your wall mount. These shelves are 2 foot long or 2 foot wide. One 10-foot 1x6 and one piece of a 2x4. You can make a floating shelf. So I've actually built some out of 1x4s, as you'll see right here. We built these and put them in our bathroom. They hold towels, they hold decorations, things like that in our bathroom. They're a great way to add a little extra storage to the bathroom or any room really. So these are how we did them in 1x4. I've modified it a little bit because I want that face board to go all the way across and hide the end grain of those sideboards. It's just a great way to add some floating shelves to the house. So to start, what we're gonna do is we're gonna take 2x4s. So I've cut these 21 inches long. These are gonna be for 24-inch shelves, floating shelves. I'm gonna rip the edges off of both of these to make them nice and square. You don't have to do that. It just makes it better for the customer when they go to mount everything. And we can make sure that both of these are exactly the same width. These are 2 scrap pieces I had, so I'm not sure if they're exactly the same width, and I want to make sure that they are when I go ahead and build my shelf out of the 1x6. So I'm just going to do the jointing with a table saw method that I've used many times on these videos. Basically, all you're going to do is use a straight edge, in this case a 4-foot level, and use it as a reference. You're going to slide it with the stock. What that does is gives this board a straight reference that moves with it. If you just rip it along with the fence, all it's doing is referencing the other side of the board. And by doing that, if that board is bowed or twisted or anything like that, so goes the other side. So I moved the fence into 3 1/4. That should be good enough for both of them to be 3 1/4 inches. Dusty, dusty, dusty. All right, now you can see that these things, that puts a nice square edge on both of them. Now it's time to build the shelf. We're just gonna build those out of a couple of 1x6s. So I know that my face board is gonna be 2 foot because that's what the customer wants, a 24-inch shelf. Went ahead and marked 24 inches, and I'm gonna cut 2 of those because I've got 2 shelves to make. If you're making multiples of anything, you can lay one on top of the other, flush up this side down here that's already been cut with the board underneath, and then we'll just bring it back to the top board to the blade till it touches. Make sure you're flush, and then cut. There's my 2 face boards. I'm gonna go ahead and cut 8 more of these boards at 2 feet because they want the top and the bottom of the shelf. We're gonna basically make a box. And so I gotta have 2 on each side. Keep this piece if you have one that's just a little short because we're gonna need it later. Be sure and cut that very end just to square it up. So that's basically got 1 shelf there. So the basic idea. So the basic idea is this will be mounted to the wall. You'll have these 2 boards joined together with pocket holes like that, and then they will fit on top of that board. So I'll have 2 pieces on the bottom, 2 pieces on top, a face piece, and then a piece on the side. If you want to make things simpler, you can get some 1x10, 1x12, and just have 1 board on top and bottom. But essentially, I'm gonna rip the edge off of these boards so that they fit together a little tighter. You don't have to do that. If you don't want to, they'll just have that gap in there to be fine. The reason I'm doing it is because I want them all to be the exact same width. And the only way to do that is to rip the edges off, do that joining with a table saw method. We're gonna do that on 4 of the boards. The 5th board, I'll have to cut to size once I get the shelf put together. So we're using 3/4 inch stock or 1x stock. So we'll set the pocket hole jig at 3/4 of an inch. I'm just gonna put 3 pocket holes in 2 of the boards for each shelf. Now we're just gonna assemble the top and bottom part of the shelf. We got our pocket holes. We're gonna use some wood glue. This is Titebond 2. It's pretty good stuff. Just like spread it out somehow. You can use your finger, you can use a brush, whatever you wanna do. So I'm just gonna make sure this end is as flush as I can get it. And I probably trim these off just a little bit. So I'm gonna use my Kreg face clamp. These things are super handy. Right, keeps everything held in place while you put that Kreg screw in there. These are 1 1/4 Kreg screws. That's what is supposed to be used on this 3/4 inch material. Swap ends, face clamp that one, put it together. Same thing in the middle, just kind of hold it in place. Try to get that flush. It feels flush right now. A lot of times when you drive that screw, it'll pull it just a little out of flush. That's okay, we can sand that down. That's say the top of the shelf will look like that. We'll do it one more time for the bottom of the shelf. Same thing, glue, screws. You know what time it is, power tip time. So if you're building anything where you've joined multiple boards together, you want to square those ends up, because even though we cut them exactly the same, this end is flush. Right here you can see, perfectly flush. No issues there. When you flip it over to the other end, you can see that it's just a little bit out. We don't want that. So what do? Circular saw. I'm gonna use the miter saw, table saw. You can use the table saw. Anything like that, we're just gonna make sure both ends are exactly flush. So I'll actually cut both ends, and then I'll cut one end of the other board, lay this board on top of it, and make sure they're exactly the same, since we're using both of them for our shelf. And all I cut was just not even a blade width, probably about a half a blade width. That gets everything up nice and squared up. So this project is coming together. I got a big sunspot. Let me move the door. So it's starting to come together now. This is going to be the board that attaches to the wall. So you'll put this on the wall, you'll level it up, screw it into some studs. These two will fit together like this. So they'll actually slide over this board that's on the wall. We're going to build the front cap that will hide this end, as well as fit a piece over the edge too. This is what I'm thinking. So we want our edge board, our end board, to be 4 7/8 tight. So I'll probably make them 5 inches, because I want this top to be, so I'll make it 4 15/16 because I want a little bit of play in there so the customer can get this over the top of that board. So these two edge pieces will need to be that wide by however long this is gonna be. So we're gonna have a face board. So 10 3/8 is what this will be, 10 3/8 by 4 15/16. So I've got the end boards cut. So essentially what's going to happen is this board will be lined up on the edge, flush with the top of this. This board will be here on the top of that. So everything lines up like this. Because it's a floating shelf, I don't want this edge sticking out like that. I think that's what we're doing. So everything will fit in like this. By doing that, I'm going to need to cut these shelves down to fit inside here. So instead of these being 24 inches, they'll be minus 1.5 inches, so 22.5. So that's what the inside of the shelf looks like. This is the face board, this is the top. This will be the bottom, which will go here. So these are 22.5, this face board's 24 inches. These are as long as you need them to be to cover that. So it's gonna go all the way to the back of the shelf, and then this piece will go on the wall, screwed to the wall. The shelf will go over that, and then you will attach it to the top. It's a very easy floating shelf pocket hole addition. So what I've done is I went ahead and drilled some pocket holes there to attach to the face piece. Also drilled one in each edge piece, and then one on the ends, which will attach here, and then of course inside there. To get inside, you're going to need a nice right angle attachment. I'll put a link in the description below. Once the board is on, it's going to make it harder to get in there. We're just going to be using glue, pocket hole screws, and we'll assemble this shelf and be done with it. I think it's better if we put the end piece on first. I want to make sure everything's lined up right. I want to flush this outside edge up. Make sure the top and bottom are flush right here. On the outside edge is flush. I'll take a single pocket hole. You could put 2 in there. I probably should have. Wear it better. But it's really not needed. All right, everything's nice and flush-ish. Put this piece on. The main thing here is you're going to flush up the top and this edge. You can take this edge piece, set it there just to make sure everything is going to be flush. Get everything nice and tight. Start on one end. I like to hold pressure down on it while I'm screwing it in to keep anything from moving. You can clamp this as well. I'm actually thinking it'll be easier to go ahead and put this on without that end cap. Bottom piece on first. Glue, I forgot to put some glue in there. But it's just about too big for my drill, or too small, too narrow. Man, it barely fits. Shiz are coming together. I don't know if I can get my drill in there. I sure hope so. We're about to find out. That right angle attachment's for right there. I'm over here being a dummy and not using my clamps. I'm gonna put this end piece on the very same way. I'm wondering, wouldn't have been easier to put that piece on and then put the edge piece, these pieces on. I don't know, I think this will work. So it's better to go ahead and put these screws in the hole, get them ready. If you don't have a right angle attachment and you're building one this narrow, you're gonna have problems. This right angle attachment will allow you to get to that into that tight space. All right, moment of truth. We got to make sure this fits. If it don't, yep, it does exactly what I wanted it to. I wanted it a little loose because they're going to set this on top and attach it to the top of this board, and they have plenty, a little bit of room to wiggle it. It's going to work out just right. Sand and stain, and then you got yourself a floating shelf. So when I'm sanding, I like to have some ear protection. I use these Power Beats Pro. They're sound isolating. They're not sound canceling, but it does dampen the sound. And while I do that, I like to listen to audiobooks. It's a great way to consume books because I'm not a big reader, like sitting down with a book and reading, but I like to listen to a lot of different things. Audiobooks are one. If you are interested, there's a link in the description below. If you've never signed up for Audible, you can go get you a free trial, get 2 free audiobooks. Hot, I'm sweating. So we're fixing to stain these shelves. We're going to stain them Minwax True Black. It's what the customer wants. I'm going to use this pre-stain conditioner. Look on the channel a couple of videos back and you'll see how to use this and why it's important to use it. I use it on all my stain projects. Hey, if you like this video, go ahead and click that box right there. That takes you to the next set of beginner woodworking projects. It's a great way to get started woodworking. Also, don't forget to hit that thumbs up for me if you haven't already. If you click that subscribe button for me, hit the bell icon right next to it. That'll notify you every time I upload new content, which is coming regularly. If you click that box, you're getting that virtual fist bump.